I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
First up, we're looking for approval of the last month's minutes.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. First resolution we have up is a resolution authorizing expenditure for motor vehicle, other equipment from unappropriated fund balance for the purchase of a new vehicle for the county clerk's office.
Make a motion.
Got first and second. Terry, anything you want?
Well, I just wanted to inform the committee that on average, this vehicle brings in roughly $400,000 worth of revenue for the county each year. That's after our expenses that are roughly $53,000 a year. That includes fringe and salary for the individual who runs that. She runs it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday she works in the office. We have a route set up that goes everywhere from Watertown down to Cortland, over to Auburn, and back to the DMVs. One thing that everybody should be aware of, I am gradually moving all of the dealer transactions that go through that courier. We used to divide them out amongst the three offices. I'm gradually moving them all to be stationed at the Oswego location because we have some extra room in the back, and that's where the bulk of my employees are going to end up. So if anybody says anything about that, have them reach out to me, because I know some dealers like the people that they deal with in certain offices, but we're trying to get them over that little hurdle and let them reassure that I'm actually putting a supervisor in charge of dealers now, so we really have more control over what's coming and going there too. So in the end, I had $10,000 in our other equipment line in motor vehicle, which was left over from some purchases for computers. Nancy, one of my deputies, along with Matthew and Kathy Sharkey, put the budget together. They had $17,000. Well,
$20,000 was originally
yeah.
budgeted. We needed $7,000 for two new computers.
And so each state computer is roughly $6,000. The add-ons such as scanners and things like that ended up. So we have some money left over in there. We don't need as much because I moved some people around. So that's where that money's left over from, and I'm asking just to move the $13,000 from unappropriated fund balance, which last year we put in roughly $3 million from my office.
Okay. Anybody have any further discussion?
Is it a big car?
No, no, we're doing a Chevy Trax. That's what we have now. We're looking to purchase the same thing, all-wheel drive feature, because they do run those 4 days a week, rain, snow, or sleet. They go. So give them a little bit of that. And I will let you know, the car currently has roughly 106,000, probably about 108 by now since this memo was written. And we average 30 to 40,000 miles a year. So, and it's a long time to get a car right now. So that's where we're at. No, we will look to sell it in one form or another. We're having some issues with it, not a ton, but we're starting to see some sensors go, and the normal wear and tear anyways.
Does it go in for a regular maintenance
It does.
schedule or just when something happens?
Nope, it goes in for a regular scheduled maintenance. I have all the records down in the office. You're more than welcome to come on and down and look for it. We do regular oil changes, and along with tires and brakes and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought up at caucus, the question of, would it be cheaper to lease? And have you looked at the difference between buying and leasing?
Well, you're talking on high 40,000 miles
Right.
a year. So by the time we paid the penalties for leasing and everything, I don't know if it would be worth it for us at all. The other thing we have looked at is, this car really only costs us about $5,000 a year. So that's the number, true number for this
Yeah,
vehicle itself is $5,000 a year. So.
Another department totaled a leased vehicle, and because of the price of used vehicles and everything, we had to pay money when that was totaled over and above our insurance. So,
So, is there any discussion? If not, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have a resolution adopting County of Oswego Local Law Number 1 of 2022 entitled Local Law Providing a Partial Tax Exemption of Certain Real Property Owned by Persons 65 years of age or older. And that would basically start largest income, I think was $29,000 that they can make to get 50% off. And if you got up to 36,000, you got 5% off. Looking for a motion? Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion on that?
I have one question. Is this the same one that we talked about
Yes.
last month?
Mhm.
yeah, the process on local laws is they're introduced for a public hearing, typically 1 month, and then 30 days later, there's a public hearing, and normally the laws are adopted right after the public hearing, but the legislature can go back to the drawing board, or they can wait after the hearing and have another meeting and adopt it. I will note that on the last legislative meeting to set the public hearing, a legislator asked that this could be done on an income basis, so age basis only, sliding scale age basis only, and that's not supported by the real property tax law, which is income and age based, not age only. And it also would bring in, persons who are in their 70s still working. So Corey can speak to how many properties this will affect with the enhanced exemption on the current income. I believe it's in his memo, 2,700 or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be 2,700 new ones, so we currently have about 1,000 people that are getting it. So it'll be close to 4,000 that could potentially get it.
Right.
But as I said last month, that's inclusive of a report from the state of taxable income for seniors, which this exemption counts all income, not just taxable income, so it would be probably less than that. That was the maximum number I could come up with.
Right.
So.
Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have a resolution adopting the County of Oswego Local Law Number 2, 2022, granting partial tax exemption for qualifying persons with disabilities under the real property tax law 459-C. It's basically the same thing, just for people with disabilities.
Make a motion.
Have a motion?
Second.
First and second. Any discussion, anybody?
Do you know the number on this one for disability, by chance?
Off the top of my head, no, but it's significantly less. I feel it's less than 100 households that are currently getting it.
And you said before, even if these all went through, we'd only put like, what was it, a couple cents per 1,000 on the...
At worst, yeah, it was a couple of cents per 1,000 on the general tax rate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the largest exemptions, I would say, but really, it's a small portion of the total taxable value of the county.
And speaking with Corey, there's a hope that after the legislature adopts both these laws, that the towns and other jurisdictions can bring their exemptions into line, so it's uniform across.
So it
Tax
won't all
jurisdiction.
through because the towns have to adopt these same local laws before it to be the work.
And I
Some
have
don't.
heard from several so far that they are going through with increasing their income limits as well. Several towns are planning to do so, so it'll be hopefully uniform across the board.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything?
When would we be able to get the chart, like something in writing that we can tell our constituents the income guidelines and stuff? Is there anything?
Well, yeah, I have a chart that I can update. It's right in the local law too, the actual income chart.
Anyone else have anything? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Local law should be attached to the resolution, each resolution.
Yeah, it's not on mine.
Next up, we have,
Wait a second, the local law is not attached to the resolution? in the packet.
in the packet?
Not in the back.
I didn't get it.
The local law on each resolution needs to be part or attached to the resolution. We need to have that.
So that'll be, but we can do that at the legislature.
It's a legislature, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, coming out of committee, it's not just a resolution.
Okay.
Next up, we have the Oswego County operating policies and regulations and procedures for vehicles. You got a handout on these?
Yeah, I apologize, this wasn't on the agenda. This has already gone through finance and personnel, and all operating policies are adopted in the last stage by the General Government Committee. And this hadn't been updated since 2012. It's a lot of wording and grammar changes, updating people's titles, updating for the fact that there's no, that the drug task force vehicles are transferred to the sheriff. Basically, this provides all the guidelines for requesting a vehicle, operating a vehicle, operating your own vehicle, reimbursement, disposal of county vehicles. The primary changes we did add in, we updated it for cell phone use, prohibiting it, and to ensure that we added in language about keeping vehicles locked and turned off when they're not in use, and that the radio in the cars, if so equipped, has to be on when you're operating it, because that's our vehicle locating system. If they turn the radios off or they don't come on, we can't tell where that car is. So we needed to put that into policy because there's been a couple of issues with that. And that's basically it. And it also updated a little bit on the purchasing side as well, in terms of vehicle disposal. Now that we have a purchasing department back. And that was it. Nothing major.
I would note that the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal provides coverage for employees in their own vehicle by way of, part of the coverage includes reimbursement of deductible up to $1,000 if an accident occurs in the course of their employment. So that's happened a couple times. We've had to verify if they're driving their own car, getting paid mileage because the car's not assigned to them. And an accident happens, and the county insurance will pick up, up to $1,000 in deductible.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on this?
Does that apply to a motorcycle too when I take it to a meeting?
Motorcycles are generally excluded from no fault, so I'd have to check.
All right, so what do we need? We don't need a resolution.
Just a motion.
Just a motion to approve it.
Yeah.
So
I'll make motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Next up, we have the Weights and Measures Annual Report.
Good morning. Today we've got Jamie Comstock. He's our Weights and Measures Director is with us, and he put together an annual report for your review. It should have been in all of your packets. If you have any questions for him, then please feel free to ask. The Weights and Measures Department falls underneath the clerk of the legislature, and that's why he's here with me today. But if you look at the financial summary for 2021, actually we did quite well. Came in more money for revenue, spent a little less money than we actually budgeted. Jamie's been out there. He has hit all of our gas stations. This is something. Jamie's been with us how long now? 6 years? 7 years? 12 years?
10 years.
10 years.
I'm my 11th.
11th year. So he's been with us a long time. But Jamie really got a handle on getting all of our gas stations. He's got to go and measure the gas coming in and out and all of that. He's got a handle on that, and he's gotten every single gas station done in the county. I think he was the first one to actually accomplish that. And he's out on the street all the time, on the road all the time, doing all the weights, and he works with the large industries. But if you have any questions for him, please, now's the time to ask. Or he's he's got a cell phone, you can get a hold of him that way, or even contact him anytime you want. I don't know if you have anything to add, Jamie?
I pretty much covered it.
Mhm.
How often were they not calibrated correctly? You know, that they were,
Gas pumps?
Yeah.
Not very much. They're more accurate than you think, and most of the problems I find are always given away. They're very seldom. I'm lucky if I find one or two a year, minus out of tolerance. And they're not a lot, but out of tolerance is out of tolerance. So we do about 1,000 gas pumps a year, and I'm lucky to find 2 at worst.
what do you do with it? How much do you take out and what do you do with it after
Pump
it's out?
5 gallons on every pump on every grade. So 87, 89, and 93 or whatever their premium is, 5 gallons on all of those, 10 on diesel and Caro, and then we just pour it back in the tank.
Okay.
This year we purchased a new system. You might want to talk a little bit about that.
So I used to climb a ladder, pour back on stations with above ground tanks, marinas and such. And then the state said we're not supposed to climb tanks because OSHA regulation says you're gonna have 3 points of contact, and when you're carrying a thing up, there's no way to keep 3 points of contact. So I usually give it to one of theirs. They supply a helper and I have him do it. Well, last year I had a guy fall off the ladder, doused him in kerosene. He didn't get hurt, bent my can just a little bit. So I said, this is silly, me telling him to do something that I'm not supposed to do because it's unsafe. So we bought a fuel transfer pump to hook onto my Prover cart that will allow me to pump it back into the drums or the tanks or whatever. We're just getting that now. We've ordered the pump and we're going to have to get an adapter made to hook it to my cart.
That's a good workaround on that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter time.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions?
Well, I'm new to this. I'm a brand new legislator, so I'm trying to learn this job. And when I reviewed everything, I was thinking to myself, is there a way you think we could get this so it doesn't cost us money? You know what I mean?
The fees are set by the state and we already charge the maximum.
Oh, that was what I was gonna ask. So if they're being charged,
There's been,
what
yeah, we didn't used to
charge?
charge a fee the first few years, and then we started charging the fee, and we just, right from the start, adopted the state structure, which they've talked about changing, but I don't see it happening in a while, because the guy that was talking about it just retired, so now, but they haven't changed the fee structure in 20, 30
Do you
years.
think it's fair, or what's your take on
Some things they're getting a deal, in my opinion. Some things, I think we're charging plenty.
it? Okay.
Yeah,
And there's nothing we can do because
nothing
they're
we
being
can do,
charged
that's
the
all
max?
set by the state.
That's the only question.
And we also have a contract with both Fulton and Oswego. And Jamie takes care of Fulton and Oswego too. We have a contract with them where they pay us a fee.
Part of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, every few years at the budget time, I ask Betsy or her predecessor, Chris, to look at that contract to see if it's covering our costs in those 2 cities, and we adjust it. That's where we have flexibility, not in the fines, but in what we're charging other municipalities to do that work for them.
Might be
To break
something
even.
to do, put a bug in the state's ear about looking at that again.
One thing they're talking about that won't make a huge difference is right now I can't charge if I have to go back and retest. Like if I go to a gas station and then 6 months later they come through and calibrate it, I have to go back and do the gas station a second time, and I can't charge for that. The only time I can charge a second fee is if I failed the device the first time. If it's due to a failed test, I can charge for the retest. If they just decide we're upgrading our pumps and put in all new pumps, then I don't get to charge them. Well, if they upgrade their pump, I misspoke, sorry. If they upgrade and get new pumps, I can charge them because that's a new device. If they just come through and do calibration, like sometimes the big stations, I'll be mostly done, and come fall, they'll send someone to do all the fast tracks in the area. And I got to do them all over again, and I can't charge them for that. But if they upgrade their pumps, I misspoke, sorry. Then I can charge them for the new pumps. So sometimes that adds up. They're talking of changing that. If they do anything that makes me have to come back, they're talking about letting us charge the second time.
So it'd be one area that you could see improvement in.
Yeah, that would be nice, because that happens more than you think. And it's, annoying to do it twice.
And Jamie does do all the scales in the county too. So any scale he calibrates, or I don't know if I'm using the proper term,
Yeah,
whatever,
no,
calibrates all the
tests,
scales. tests them.
certified scales, fuel oil trucks,
You're busy.
yeah, plenty.
Anybody else have anything else? So we need a motion to approve that report. Looking for a first. Second?
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second. Any other discussion? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No one, it's a carries. I believe that ends it. We're looking for the proper motion, Mr. Chair.
I had a few things I wanted to report on.
Okay.
If you want to hear it, if you don't.
I don't know. Okay.
I have nothing but time now, so. No, I just wanted to, there have been some questions since I took over as county clerk about the proper handling of deeds and what's going on. I know that there's a lot of infomercials out there that say that you need to have this and that and everything else and watch out for scammers. So I just wanted to go through the whole process with everybody. So, you know, a deed comes into our office, everything goes through the front counter. So one of our staff members will take that deed and make sure it's been checked by real property first, so that the accuracy of the RP 5217 is there. If that isn't, we hand it off to them and they take care of that and then bring it back to us. So once that's done, then we record that. It goes on to our large records room after it's been recorded. So when we record a document, it gets scanned in, so it's electronic then, and we have the paper copy as well. After we're done putting everything on the computer, we set that into a pile and it goes out to our large records room, where that is indexed. I made sure that everything was caught that was on that document is on electronically. Then our software provider, IQS, will verify them daily, and usually Matt, my deputy, will check the error report, IQS error report, to make sure that if there's any necessary adjustments, those are taken care of. After that, usually takes about a week. We're going a little earlier than a week now, though, right? So usually about a week we do our mailbacks, which when you send in a deed, you'll send where it needs to be mailed back to, record and resend to this place, and we'll send it back. So anything for possible fraud, you can, New York State passed a piece of legislation January 11th, 2020. Previous Governor Cuomo signed it into legislation and amended Section 291 of the New York State property tax law, real property law, which will reads, the clerk of the county or city registrar, where such conveyance of residential real property is recorded and maintained, shall mail a written notice of such conveyance to the owner of record. So that law is already on the book to protect you there. And then in addition, you know, most of our local real estate industry members are very diligent about the verification of home ownership and all of that when they're selling the property as well. So with those measurements, we have yet to see any fraudulent real estate transfers happen in this county. Matt's been there about 15 years. He's never seen it. And I've looked back in a lot of files. I have files that go all the way back to the 80s. And I've yet to see any fraudulent transfers of deeds. So I just wanted to reassure you is that we're doing our due diligence in my office to make sure that there is no fraudulent happenings with deeds. And if anybody has anything further, they're more than welcome to stop into the office. We can dive into a little bit more. Just some summary of where we are year to date. We've done 838 deeds so far this year. And this is as of Friday of last week. 787 mortgages, so usually they're about on par. Those two are 845 discharging mortgages, 1,358 judgments. One number that some of the numbers I really want to focus on, pistol permits issued 106 so far this year. Permits amended 945, so that's if you're adding a gun, transferring a gun, any of that. Changing addresses, things like that. Criminal back history checks, 295. I'll stop there for a second just to give you a brief explanation of what these criminal background checks are. There's two now. The state has one and the county has one. The County one, we refer to it as the Brady Bill. That's done every 5 years. The majority of your pistol permits on the card itself will have criminal background check date. That's the date that it expires. It's 5 years from when you did your last one. Come in the office, you pay $5, you fill out a small form, you get that background done by the sheriff's department, and then the judge signs off on it as he or she looks at that background check. They take anywhere from 7 to 10 days. Now, I encourage everybody to keep them up to date. I'm going to start very soon sending a letter out monthly for people's background checks, Brady bills that are up in that month. So if you're up, let's say April 20th, April 1st you should get, or at the end of March you should have got a letter that says, hey, just want to let you know this is up. If you want to add a gun, if you want to change a lot of things on that permit, you need to have that background up. So if you go to Bass Pro over the weekend and you buy yourself a pistol and you come in Monday and your background check isn't up, you're going to be held up 7 to 10 days. So I try to encourage everybody to keep them up to date. So that's that background check. The state recertification is a result of the New York State Unsafe Act, and that is done online through New York State Police. Through their website. We can give you all that information, and that's to be done every 5 years as well. So there are 2 different background checks. We're all law-abiding citizens. That's why we went and got the pistol permits. So I just encourage everybody to keep up to date on both of them. Starting May 1st with pistol permits, you'll no longer be dropping the new permits off at the applications off at the sheriff's department. We'll be taking them in my office. It's just a lot cleaner and easier this way. For the longest time, the sheriff was doing the fingerprinting there. They no longer can do the fingerprinting there. It goes through a service called Identigo, which is either Pulaski or Syracuse. They don't have the phone line. So it's just easier to do it through our office. We handle all the permits. They stay in my office. So starting May 1st, I believe that's a Sunday, so May 2nd, we'll be taking them in the county clerk's office. Our pistol permits have doubled from January and February. So January and February in total, we had roughly $7,000 worth of transactions in the pistol permit division. March, we had $7,000 worth of pistol permit transactions. So there's a lot of activity going on with pistol, and I'll remind you that for the most part, it's a $3 amendment, $5 card, $8 a total. So that's a lot of transactions that are going through there in a $20 packet. We're not talking hundreds of dollars at a time. So we've really stepped it up. I have 2 stations, the pistol permit one where everybody's aware of that is, and then the next one over where myself or a couple others are jumping up there, especially Monday mornings. A lot are really, really busy. It's nothing for us to see 20, 30 new guns come on to be amended on permits on a Monday. So that's good. So we're finally fully staffed. Everybody, my motto and Nancy's and Matt's is that everybody's going to be trained in every department that we have, meaning court records, the large records room, the front counter. So they're going to know every job that's there. They're all index clerks, so there's going to be no issues. If somebody goes down sick or whatever, we can transfer people around within the department. Makes it a lot easier, and everybody has a good knowledge base then. DMV is, Fulton office is open. We have an appointment line window only in Oswego that you can go in and make an appointment any day you want to. Some people like that appointment feature, so we're doing a little hybrid version at the Oswego office. Other than that, you're all welcome to walk in Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30. And do any transaction you want to. But there are some elderly, there's some people who like to schedule permit testing that way. It's just an added convenience that we'll offer, hopefully for a while, to see how it works. Donate Life Month is April. We'll be at your legislative meeting to join you in proclaiming Donate Life Month, April Donate Life Month, and April 22nd will be Donate Life Day. The clerk's office, all 3 motor vehicles in the record center will have our Donate Life Month apparel on, and be encouraging people to be organ donors. It's very important. and check our Facebook that we put out just recently for a lot of these updates. And next week we'll have a records management meeting countywide for some of the countywide departments to hit the ground running for what we're going to do for records management moving forward. That was started to be discussed, 3 years ago or so, and didn't really move that much, so now we have to get moving on that. So just a few updates, and I plan to come most months and give you some of the updates and insights to the workings of the office, because I think sometimes it's good news that we need to hear instead of always hearing bad news. So, and I welcome any legislator, especially the new ones. I know legislator Beckwith Samuelson
I'd like
was
to thank you for
down.
that. I got a
Yep.
full-fledged tour.
Yep.
I recommend it. I learned a lot.
So everybody's welcome, even if you've been here for 25 years now.
Anybody else have questions for Terry?
Gary, what's the average turnaround time again, the fiscal?
Brand new permit?
Yeah, brand new.
It's averaging, well, we used to say about a month, but it's going a lot quicker.
How about an amendment?
An amendment?
Yeah, an added gun or something.
If you want to add a gun, I can take you downstairs and do it now as long as your background checks up.
It's quick.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that Oswego DMV, if you haven't seen it, it's spectacular compared to the old mood that was there.
Anybody have anything else for Terry? Well, thank you very much, Terry, for the
Thank
update.
you.
Look forward to hearing from you monthly.
It's only gonna be good news, right?
That's
all there is in the course.
That's right, that's right.
What an adventure.
Looking for the proper motion.
Second.
Okay, first and second, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.